Hey everyone, this is Laura Gdenik with Laura Gdenik Astrology, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the week of August 31st through September 6th. Starting on Tuesday the 1st, that's really when we have our first major planetary event. And this is really Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to talk about both days kind of at the same time because the aspects relate to each other. So on Tuesday, we have Mercury making a trine to Pluto. Mercury is the planet of our minds, how we communicate and express ideas, and Pluto indicates power. And trines are very beneficial and positive. So this equates to having something powerful to say and feeling confident about relaying your message. Mercury representing the mind and communications could also indicate writing or kind of just your thought process. And Pluto is a planet that wants to get to the bottom of something. So this would be a great day to do some journaling or some deep investigation into your beliefs or into the message that you want to relay in particular. And the lesson that you want to relay in particular regarding relationships, I would say, because at the same time, Venus over here is making an opposition to Saturn. And Venus just made this opposition to Pluto and Jupiter this past week. So, things have already been tense and challenging in relationships. And so this week, especially, the middle of the week, Tuesday through Friday, this is when things kind of amp up. And it's kind of the resolution of, or maybe the peak. It's the peak of these conflicts. Venus is a planet indicating women and Cancer. Venus is in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is a sign about women. So this, I would imagine would be conflicts related to women, with women in your life. If you're not in a direct conflict, is your mom in some sort of power struggle right now? Is your sister? Is your female friend? Is your partner? So it doesn't have to necessarily be you in conflict. It can just be women in your life. So yeah, relationships with women have been strained for at least the past week as Venus has been making these oppositions. Thankfully, this is Venus's last straw. And she's at the final degrees of Cancer. She'll be moving into Leo soon. So this is kind of the final week of tension and strife. Venus, being the planet of relationships and making a hard aspect to Saturn, indicates boundaries in relationships. Saturn is a planet about boundaries and discipline. So this could be a day where you're relaying a message, right? Mercury, trine, Pluto, regarding boundaries that you have around relationships. And this could feel a little bit cold. If you're the one that's in the power struggle or in the conflict, this could feel like someone is saying no to you and to your desires and things that feel pleasant normally. Saturn says no, or Saturn says not yet. It could feel like someone's rejecting you. And once again, I've talked about this before, but in oppositions between two planets, often it's one person playing one planet and the other person playing the other. So in a conflict, for example, one person might be the Venus person and be feeling rejected by Saturn, whoever's playing Saturn, whoever's saying no, whoever's, staying above moral ground, holding the firm boundary. It could feel harsh and cold and rejecting to Venus. Venus in general also indicates pleasures and joy and things that we love. And once again, Saturn says no. no to pleasure, no to joy, no to love at this time. So this has potential to be kind of a lonely feeling day, or something that you really, really want, that you think would bring you a lot of happiness, doesn't come, or is taken away from you, or doesn't happen. I'm of the opinion that if we know the aspects of the day between the planets, we can choose to work consciously with the energy rather than be victims to it. So for me, I was thinking on this day, on Tuesday, when Venus opposes Saturn, of doing something like a fast, or like a detox. Venus in Cancer represents things that are sweet and delicious and appetizing. So this could be a day where you don't eat any sugar. And that's, including like desserts, like ice creams or whatever. But also like, there's sugar in like ketchup, right? There's sugar in pretty much anything processed. So that could be a way to utilize this energy and kind of work with it rather than it working against you or it feeling bad. I might do some sort of fast on this day, like maybe just like a day of drinking water and cleansing my body. If you want to work consciously with this, take something away from yourself that normally brings you pleasure, and do something disciplined on this day that requires concentration. And then perhaps you won't be so disappointed. So yeah, Mercury is helping you to relay this message, this powerful message, perhaps with regards to this conflict. And at the same time, on Tuesday, we have a full moon forming later on in the day. Oh, and I forgot to mention this Mercury trine Pluto. I think that's like Monday as well. It's like Monday. This is all like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It'll be felt all 3 days, and even into Thursday, Friday. This is kind of the whole week. So we have this full moon happening at the same time on Tuesday. And full moons bring things to pinnacles or peaks, or to fruition. Full moons amplify what's already happening around it, like in the sky. This is indicating a peak of some kind, or a culmination, or something coming to fruition regarding the other astrological events that have been underway for the past 2 weeks, really, since we had the new moon. So this is going to be an intense week because of the full moon. The full moon is amplifying the energy of the week. So we'll feel pretty busy and emotional as well. And let's see, on Wednesday, you can kind of see, it still says Tuesday, but on Wednesday, the sun, and you'll feel this Tuesday as well, the sun is moving into a trine with Uranus. Trines are supportive aspects between 2 planets. The sun represents our consciousness and our awareness. And when it comes into contact with Uranus, there's this sense of high-mindedness, of really yearning or reaching for ideals. And oftentimes these ideals are actually unattainable or too high, overly objective, and can be a little bit emotionally cold and unattainable and just unreachable. I mean, the positives of this is kind of sticking firm to who you are, your ideals, sticking firm to your beliefs about what's right, and not giving way under someone, really sticking to what's true for you. But at the same time, it can be a little bit colder, or even like arrogant, especially in relation to everything that's going on with this challenging relationship dynamic and relaying this powerful message, and with the full moon amplifying everything. This can feel a little bit like, here's my stance, and I am greater than thou. It can be a bit arrogant, like in a conflict, maybe your response is like someone's really needing like nurturing and like warmth and comfort from you, and you're like, sorry, holding that boundary with Saturn. And also like, maybe you should read more about your attachment style. It can be like a little bit degrading and like like downplay the person's emotional reaction and like kind of better than thou attitude. So I just want to kind of warn you to be careful of that. I mean, it's really great to kind of have that like oversight or that kind of like high up perspective and to reach for the ideal. But sometimes the ideal can be so high that it's too distant. It's like, it's intangible. It's not practical. Let's see. Yeah, and also Sun trine Uranus is, doing what you want regardless of consequences because it's ideal or right. This is about authenticity and speaking our truth. And sometimes when we do that, that can sometimes indicate letting go of relationships or a form of relationship that doesn't serve us or hasn't been serving us. But it doesn't have to be. I think there's a lot of potential to figure things out. And we're still not done with this whole process, right? With these conflicts that have been going on, it's not over. So this is still part of the journey. So on Thursday, September 3rd, Mercury comes and makes a trine to Saturn. So trines are, once again, easy, flowing, provide opportunity, but only if you take advantage of it. Once again, this is about sticking firm to your boundaries and your communications with others, speaking your truth. But also Mercury being the mind, Saturn being the planet of discipline and hard work and commitment. This is a great day to get shit done. Get things done that you've been putting off, get things done that you haven't been wanting to do, things that feel really mundane and boring. This is the day to do it. Anything involving mental work, like paperwork, or even cleaning, studying, doing those little tasks that you've been neglecting. I mean, Mercury's still in Virgo, so there's still that potential to get organized. Today's the day to do it. Friday, the 4th, brings the square. Okay, it looks like this is actually also on Thursday. My apologies, but you're going to feel a Friday and Saturday as well, so it doesn't really matter. But Venus is making a square to Mars. Squares are full of challenges and conflict and strife. Remember, Venus is still in that opposition within 2 degrees to Saturn. This is forming what's called a T-square because Saturn is still making a square to Mars, which I talked about last week, indicating like butting of heads. I mean, Mars is our energy, it's our how we take action, it's our initiative, our motivation, and Aries wants to go, 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 get things done, press on the gas. Saturn wants to press on the brakes, says no, denies, and stops. So it's very like challenging. It's the best word to put it. We're kind of like in a headlock, and we're in a headlock for a couple of weeks because, like, once again, Mars is slowing down considerably here, about to turn retrograde at 28 degrees of Aries, and then Mars is going to start moving backwards and moving into the same square with Saturn. So we're really in this square between Saturn and Mars for the whole month of September, like I said in the last video. And so on this day in particular, we have Venus, making that opposition to Saturn that's been happening for the week, and then making the exact square to Mars. So this is going to be a challenging day, and it might not even be on this day. It could be leading up to this day. So just, in general, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then also Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're going to feel this energy, this tension. Venus and Mars squares are more actual verbal conflicts, like fighting, shouting, being aggressive. Like Mars is aggressive, whereas Saturn is more cold. and distant and aloof and just says no and is immovable. So there's a different feel to Venus square Mars. That's more like fighting, whereas Venus and Saturn is more just like standoff and emotionally cold. Thankfully, Mercury over here is helping out because Mercury is making that trine to Saturn and a sextile to Venus. And Mercury is the messenger in astrology. Mercury relates to Hermes, which is the Greek god who delivered messages between the underworld and the heavens. And so Mercury, that's how Mercury gets his affinity for communication, for dexterity, for being smart, for being able to hold a variety of perspectives primarily, because he's like zipping around the heavens and like talking to all the other gods and can really see everyone's point of view, which is really, really helpful in this situation, right? So this could look like a friend, like a neutral friend coming in and serving as the mediator, serving as the messenger, serving as the person to help the two people in conflict understand each other. Mercury is giving support or help in some fashion. So although, it's not like we're escaping this challenging dynamic, but there's help on the way. It's not going to be as bad as it could be. There's not going to be like there's not going to be like a break or a breakup necessarily. It's like Mercury comes along and relays the message and uses the right words so that the two people can understand each other. So yeah, that's really great. Thank you, Mercury. We love you. You're awesome. On Saturday, Mercury is moving into Libra. I mean, it's still at 29, but if I progress the chart a couple hours forward, Mercury would be in Libra. So Mercury in Libra, once again, right, Mercury just served that role as the mediator, the person able to help everyone see each other's point of view. Libra is the sign of the mediator, is the sign of peacekeeping and relationship building. So Mercury is going to continue with this role in general with that dynamic. And now Mercury is in Venus's sign. Mercury is moving into Libra. Libra is a sign that's ruled by the planet Venus. Mercury and Venus are very connected, and they're still making that sextile to each other. So there's still this sense of like mediating, of wrapping up the conflict, of making agreements with the people involved so that maybe this doesn't happen again, or creating some sort of rules or a contract of some kind to help both people involved in the argument feel safe, if that makes sense. Mercury in Libra is like, okay, I don't like it when you say this because it's deeply triggering to my childhood wound or whatever. And the other person's like, okay, I won't say that. Like, that's a boundary, right? And I agree not to say those words to you. It's kind of like the two people making an agreement to kind of just be able to move on and work together. And that can look a lot of different ways. It can be just like verbal agreements, or normally Libra is about contracts, like signing a contract, but it can be more like a verbal contract. So this is kind of like learning your lesson, agreeing to be amicable, and perhaps even that friend or that third party, that objective third person, helping to make these agreements. This could also be, Libra is a sign about relationships. Mercury is about communication. So Mercury in Libra is, once again, making contracts or agreements in relationships and like in partnerships specifically. This could be like love relationships as well as just like a best friend or a business partner. Making contracts or agreements for a relationship that will work for both of you. So that's kind of Mercury moving into Libra. Something to watch out for though, the downside or negative potential of Libra is to be indecisive and a little bit flaky. And that's just because Libra is, it's the sign of the scales. And what do the scales do? The scales measure. They don't balance like so many people think. They measure. Libra is so concerned with making the correct judgment, with making the correct decision, that it can feel pretty heavy sometimes. And because of that, because so much is at stake with making the right decision, there can be a quality of indecisiveness, of feeling like stressed out or anxious about making decisions, because it's like, so much is at stake. What if I make the wrong decision? So, there's this quality of weighing options, being strategic with your decisions, really thinking things through, and once again, contracts becoming important. So that's Mercury moving into Libra. And that'll be for about 3 weeks. Mercury will be in Libra for about 3 weeks. Finally, Sunday the 6th, we have Venus moving into Leo. Venus is finally out of the craziness, out of all of the oppositions and squares. And Venus in Leo is a great time. Venus, once again, is a planet of relationships and love and beauty and pleasure. And Leo is all about self-expression and being seen, being validated, being the center of attention. So I really like thinking of Venus and Leo as like your inner princess, and really like indulging your inner princess and like letting her shine, letting her like be fed with like grapes or chocolate or wine or whatever, like really indulging your inner princess. This is the time to be seen, to be adored, like really allow yourself to actually be adored. Like, what does that even like look like? What does that feel like? I think a lot of us don't do that because it's like, I don't know, I think a lot of people struggle with being seen and acknowledged and being adored. Something I really admire about Leo folks. But yeah, be willing to be paid attention to. This could be a great time to wear that outfit that you would never normally wear, be a little bit more flamboyant, and don't be afraid to take up space. Let yourself be seen, go do that like photo shoot that you've been planning, really allow yourself to be totally glamorous. So this should be a really, really nice time. Venus in Leo isn't really gonna be making any harsh aspects for her time in Leo, other than like later on in the month, she'll be making a square with Uranus, but Uranus is in Taurus, which is a sign that Venus rules. So I don't even really think that's gonna be that challenging or bad. It could even be really productive and helpful and freeing. That's later on in the month, and that'll be nothing like, the Venus opposition to the Capricorn planets or Venus square Mars. Like that'll be like a breeze. So yeah, really enjoy it, and I hope that this was helpful. I hope it made sense, and I would love if you could comment and just let me know how the week goes for you, if this is landing, if this is making sense. That's how I learn as an astrologer. If you're interested in an astrology reading, please reach out. You can DM me on Instagram or message me on Facebook, or email me at consultation@lauragadenic.com, and we can do a private reading if you want to know more specifically how this is playing out in your personal birth chart. So I hope you have a great week, and I'll be back next week for another astrology forecast. Okay, bye.